So, it's been 2 weeks, and you know what that means. Another My Hero Academia Vigilantes review. And in this chapter, I'll just say this. The chase is on to arrest Koichi. But who's going to be the chasing? Only the fastest man alive. Yeah, we're going to find out who that is after this intro. Hit it! Hey guys, how's it going? It is your boy, Big Blue Drew 97 here, coming at you with another manga review for My Hero Academia Vigilantes, manga chapter 96, titled Negotiator. And actually no negotiations really go on in this chapter. Yeah, the title is very misleading, but with that aside, yes, we're doing Vigilantes review. And when it comes to this chapter, like I said, when it comes to the chapter so far, they're setting up to more and more each chapter. But in this chapter in particular, it is more setup, but we also get the beginnings of a little bit of action. We're discovering a few things that we didn't know beforehand, potentially alluding to more things. And we also get the reintroduction of a few familiar characters that may or may not play crucial roles, not just in this chapter, but in the arc that we're in right now. And before we get more into the review, I'd like to ask you, if you haven't done so, to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Big Blue Drew. If you like manga reviews to My Hero Academia Vigilantes, as well as reactions to other stuff in Shonen Jump, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I do all of that stuff normally Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. So yeah, without the way, let's get right into the review. So to start the review, we actually start with the cover page of this chapter, which is very simple. We have the three main guys who are helping Koichi protect Pop and acting as bodyguards for her. We have Moiru, we have Soga, and wrapped on the cover with Koichi, aka the Crawler, in the background, standing in front of a shining light. And weirdly enough, we do not focus on them at the beginning, but we actually get the reintroduction, sort of kind of a few familiar faces. We get to see Miu and Yu, if you remember who they are. They're the two twins who helped at Narafest, as well as we get to see other individuals that helped at Narafest. We get to see the Cyclops lookalike guy, the Wolverine, the three triplets, as well as the two Loverbirds as well. And they're all actually together at Hopper's Cafe, run by the Hoto brothers. So, you know, the Mantis guy, as well as the L dude, is also there as well, and they're basically here to try and understand what happened to Pop. And luckily enough, the Hoto brothers are able to tell them that everything's gonna be fine. Pop, what I mean, like Hop, Pop, Leap, like it all is what she does. But the Hoto brothers tell the Naruto group that everything's gonna be okay, that Pop Step is fine, and he got this information from Midnight herself, and that they shouldn't really worry about it. And yeah, even though that they're worried, which they should be, they're trying to comfort them to the best of their abilities, and even just like allowing them to like eat free at their restaurant for this time, because unfortunately, due to the incident with Pop Step or Queen Pop, their restaurant is not being able to get a whole lot of business because everywhere else is basically going through reconstruction, so they may not be able to get a lot of people in for a while, and they may close down for a while. But they're like, yo, it's gonna be fine, we'll treat y'all to food, everything's gonna be fine. As we get Miu and Yu basically just focusing on them a little bit, just focusing on everyone from Narafest. So that's like a really cool thing to see, just like letting us like remember that these characters still exist, and even though they may not play a crucial role in the story, they still like played a part and have connections with like the main hero, with Pop, with Koichi the Crawler, that they still like are worried about them. And it's just good to see that even though they're still worried, that they're being comforted by like other characters that we know fairly well. So that was just a cool and nice scene that we got to see. But so now we're going to cut back to Koichi, where he's just hanging on the roof waiting for everything to occur, and he's really just thinking about how he has two phones, one that he uses just in case for Wrapped and Manga and all of them to contact him, and the other Soga as well, and then the other phone, which is just his normal phone that he keeps just turning on once a day, just to make sure that he's able to keep in touch with his family, which his mother is very worried about him. But we get like a little bit like it's subtle, but we get him basically texting his father, and like his father isn't like overly worried or overly concerned. He is concerned about him, but he like somewhat seems to have trusted him, and we haven't really seen his father, but I think this shows that at the very least they have like a cool, like a good relationship, that Koichi has a good relationship with his father, because his father's like, I understand, we'll talk later, be safe, as Koichi just hangs up. So that was just a cool like little scene for Koichi, showing like, even though we haven't really seen his father, that he has a good connection with him, as well as we get to see Rapt, who calls Koichi over to the other building for some food because he's hungry right now, because he's basically been on the roof for like days and days at a time. And so you just have Rapt and Koichi just having a cool conversation. And if anything, when it comes to this chapter, what is really interesting about it is that we get to see different dynamics in the group that we rarely get to see. Like, we rarely get to see Koichi just talk with Soga. Rapt, my fault. Oh gosh, I'm going to get all of them confused. Rapt, the lizard guy. We rarely get to see them talk, but it's very cool that we get to see that, as well as we rarely get to see like the communication with everyone, with the Hoto brothers, with the Naruto crew. So that was very interesting. But this is really important scene, because this is the moment where Rapt accidentally tells Koichi that, oh yeah, everything's gonna be fine. Yeah, I got some stuff from your apartment. That's where Soga is right now. Yeah, someone broke into your house, so he's gonna try and make sure that everything's okay. But I probably shouldn't tell you that, so just forget it. And just he tells him he tells Koichi that someone broke in, which Koichi is obviously shocked about, but he's like, oh yeah, I wasn't supposed to tell you this, so don't tell Soga that I told you. And he's like, you know what, let's just forget it. So this is very interesting, but this actually leads into something very interesting, because we get this conversation between them, and then we cut over to Soga, who's like investigating the building, investigating why someone would break in, because he comes to a conclusion that, why would someone break in? Like, this area is about to be demolished, it's about to be remodeled, pretty much everything is removed from there. Koichi's the only tenant. They have to have a reason to specifically go there. And while he's looking through, we still see the missing bag with the knuckle dusters brass knuckles. Yeah, knuckle dusters brass knuckles are still missing. So you just have Soga, who's thinking about this. He's looking through the building and he finds this sheet and he's like, what is this? Maybe it's something that someone left behind. But he looks under it and he's shocked about it. And right before we're able to see what's under it, we get a call from Rapt and Moyoru, who are basically saying that the cops are there at the hospital. So we don't get to see what's underneath the sheet, but I think that's just building up the suspense of who this individual who broke into Koichi's house is. And like I said, I'm fairly certain it's Knuckle Duster, because it just makes the most amount of sense, specifically because Knuckle Duster's brass knuckles are missing. That's just like the initial indicator that he's the one that broke in, especially the way that he did. So we're just getting more and more like just tips and little like breadcrumbs of who broke in. But now we're cutting probably to like the main meat of this chapter, where we have Nomasa facing off against Soga in a negotiation battle, more or less. And now you have Soga and Nomasa, and they're confronting each other like face to face, and they're about to talk, and they're trying to negotiate sort of kind of what they're needing to do, because Nomasa is there to help protect Pop, and he brought a lot of officers to remain there and like be bodyguards, where Soga's like, oh wow, yeah, oh, you know what, that's really appreciated, we really thank for that. And he's like, yeah, we're doing this like just to protect her. And then you have Soga's like, yeah, that's cool. But it's very unfortunate, because like, even though y'all are here, like, y'all don't know how long she's gonna be in the hospital. It could be a few more weeks, it could be a few more months, and I know for a fact that y'all aren't prepared to wait that long, because y'all resources are thin. And it's like, but you know what, it makes sense, because guess what, society isn't meant to catch all of the people that fall beneath the cracks. That's just not how it works. So you have Soga basically saying that, and you have Naomasa trying to like go against it, but Midnight has to interject and try to like mitigate this as the mediator. But it's very interesting what Soga says, because technically what he's saying is absolutely true, not just in Vigilantes, but just in My Hero Academia as a whole. For those people who fall through the cracks, like Shigaraki, like Toga, especially when it comes to Twice. Once you fall through those cracks, there's no way that society has like fail safes for you to like be helped. Like once you fall through the cracks, you're basically on your own. When society dealt Twice that horrible hand, like he basically had to do it all by himself. There was no one there to help him, and it eventually led to him becoming a villain and eventually dying. With Toga, because of society's pressures on her, she was unable to be her true self, which eventually led her to also become a villain and to also suck the blood of someone that she liked. Society was not built to help these people, and when they fall through the cracks, that's it. And he's trying to say that, yeah, but what if Pop falls through the steps? Once she does, there's no way for y'all to help. Sure, you're helping her now, but what if that happens? Y'all aren't prepared for it. Society isn't prepared for it. And Namasa doesn't really have a counter for that at all. He tries to, but he is very unsuccessful, and that is when Midnight has to come in. And even though Midnight tries to come in, he's like, yo, they're trying to do everything that they can. We're just glad that y'all are at least working together. But Namasa just sticks his foot right down his throat, because as soon as like Midnight tries to be a mediator for it, rest in peace Midnight, he basically tells them that, so he's here to arrest the Crawler, and the reasoning why is because the Crawler has been using his quirk unauthorized too many times, so now he's being arrested. And Toga's like, yeah, why? Why are you arresting him? I mean, sure, he used his quirk, but I mean, like, he's been doing a good job. He's been protecting the area. Do you think that he's not prepared for it? And now Mouse is like, no, the reasoning why we are arresting him is because he's prepared for it. Because if some big villain comes around, sure, he'll be prepared for it, but there still could be potentially a lot more damage, so we need to arrest him now. So we know he's around here, so bring him here. And Soga's like, okay. You know what? Let's just give him a wake-up call. And he just gives the phone to Maru, and it's like, give Koichi the wake-up call. And this is a very smart moment just on Soga, showing like how resourceful and intelligent he is. Because like I said at the beginning, we know that Koichi has two phones. One to just periodically turn on and off, and the second one to specifically get contact with Koichi. Soga's like, yeah, he could possibly be asleep right now, which we know that he's not, because he's watching the situation. Yeah, we know that he's watching the situation, so we know he's not asleep. But the reason why he says give him a wake-up call is because that's something that Soga talked to about Koichi, that when this like wake up beeper rings, that is like the moment that you need to dip and run and get out of here as fast as you can, which he does successfully, showing that Soga is extremely intelligent. He planned for all of this, as he also attempts to escape as well. And while this is all happening, Midnight basically chastises Naomasa by saying, yeah, you're horrible at negotiation. And it makes sense, because as soon as like he sees that Soga is leaving and Koichi is leaving after this plan is in action, he's like, yo, officers, come with me. And Midnight has to stop him and is like, no, you can't do that. Remember, they're here as bodyguards, not as officers. You're horrible at negotiations. And yeah, pretty much he is. Like, yeah, this is all about negotiations, but he handled this poorly. He jumped the gun on the arrest. He did not have like a proper response to Soga with his accusations. And third of all, like I said, he just didn't know like what he was doing in that situation. He's a good detective, but he's not a good negotiator. So that's kind of like a funny jab at him by Midnight. But from this moment, this leads into probably the best part of this chapter. As Koichi gets away, as Soga gets away, Namasa gets on the phone with a particular group of individuals. And who might that be? Well, it's obviously Ingenium. He calls him and talks about how you need to capture the high-speed villain known as the Crawler. Ingenium deploy, as Ingenium as his team are now on the run trying to catch Koichi, which is very ironic and unfortunate, because as we know, Ingenium knows who Koichi is, knows who the Crawler is, even to the point where he tried to invite him to join his team, because he always likes these speedsters on his team. So now a friend of his, somewhat of a fellow colleague, someone that helped him capture a villain, has now got to go and capture someone that he may see as a friend. So most likely next chapter we are going to see Koichi versus Ingenium and see which one is faster, and we'll see whether or not Ingenium can catch Koichi or if Koichi is just going to be too fast for him. I think most likely what's going to happen is that we're going to have a lot of action, a lot of cool scenes with Koichi trying to avoid Ingenium, but Ingenium either may have like the upper hand at the end of the chapter, or Koichi is going to be able to escape his grasp. Either way, I'm very excited for it. So, overall, this is a very good chapter for Vigilantes. It's nothing really amazing. It's still setting up for like bigger things to come in the future, most likely the reveal that Knuckle Duster is alive, as well as just establishing more characterization for Koichi and the people that know Koichi, just more characterization of the Narita group, as well as the Hota brothers and the individuals that live there. We got to see them. That was a fun scene, seeing them talk and comfort one another about Pop. That was cool, as well as just seeing Soga basically go in, not just in on Namasa, the detective, but just going in on Hero Society and how Hero Society is so flawed that it leads to these people falling through the cracks and that there's no way to help them, which could eventually lead to, tying into present My Hero Academia, Hero Society being completely reformed in a way that if someone does fall down into the cracks, that they're able to either pull them out of the cracks or fill in those cracks so no one can ever fall in again. And I think that this is kind of building more and more on that idea, and having Soga bring it up, someone who was almost fell through the cracks, potentially by being one of those instant villains, could understand this the most than anyone else in the series, or specifically in Vigilantes, except maybe Knuckle Duster. But yeah, really enjoyed this chapter, really enjoyed reviewing it. Oh, also getting to see Ingenium potentially go after Koichi. That was also great. But yeah, really enjoyed this chapter, really enjoyed reviewing it, really enjoyed all of this chapter. What did you think of this chapter? Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Do you think that there was too much setup? Do you think that we should get more into the action? Do you think that we're going to get into the action of Koichi versus Ingenium next chapter? Leave your thoughts down in the comments below, as well as subscribe to my YouTube channel. Do all of that cool jazz, and hopefully I'll be able to catch you in the next video. Goodbye.